everybody, welcome back. So in my last episode, I shared some of the job search preparation tips that I've learned over the years, which included things like doing a self-assessment to really identify the most important things that you're looking for in your next role, developing your personal elevator pitch so you're able to give a succinct overview of your strengths. And then we also talked about creating some achievement stories to give some specific examples of ways that you've added value to the companies you've worked at. And I also gave you a career life hack for updating the skills and endorsements section of your LinkedIn profile. Speaking of LinkedIn, you want to make sure all the other sections of your profile are up to date, since that's a key resource that recruiters and hiring managers are going to be using to find candidates like yourself. And there's also some fun stuff you can do in there to make it more visually appealing. So you can add a background image to your profile that reflects the personal brand that you're trying to portray, or you can include some symbols in your LinkedIn headline to make it pop more. You could also click on the button that says add profile section and add any relevant info about yourself. So it could be certifications you have or any recent courses you took or volunteer work you've done. All of this is just to show how well-rounded your experience is. And if you don't have any of that, get out there and do some volunteer work or take an online course, because this can help boost your overall personal brand. And then finally, try to get some colleagues to write a recommendation for you. So anyone who's searching your profile can learn a little bit more about how others perceive you and your work. And don't forget to return the favor to them and ask them if they'd like you to write a recommendation for them too. Okay, so your LinkedIn's all set. As you start this process about job search and networking, it's just like any big project. It's a good idea to have a plan in place with clear objectives. I mean, this is a big deal. This is, you're looking for your next job, and the last thing you want to do is put 50% effort into this and land something that you're not happy with, and you have to go through this entire process all over again 6 months from now. So by now you should have a decent idea of what you're looking for. So start to document that into this strategic plan. You can start with the elevator pitch. We already talked about that last time. I would also write down the different titles that you're seeking at the new role that you want to find. Write down what your key skills and core competencies are that you want to make sure you get across during conversations. Do you want to be 100% remote, or are you okay with traveling into the office? And if so, how far are you willing to commute? Because that'll help tell you how far your radius is from your home. Do you want to work for a startup, or do you want to work for a more established company? And then what type of culture are you looking for within that company? Once you determine all these parameters, this is what can help you start to develop a target list of companies. And those are the ones that you can start researching to learn more about them and also figure out if you have any possible connections there. Okay, so you've got your strategic plan, and now you're really ready to start networking. So the one thing I've learned is that these days it's really difficult to simply apply for a role online and expect a call back. That may have been the way it used to be, but these days, even though that can still happen, in order to put the odds in your favor, you're going to want to take control of this process. And you're going to want to start reaching out to your business contacts that you already have, developing new contacts, and that way you've got the greatest shot at securing that next job. So the way I like to think of my network is a series of concentric circles. And if we start with the one in the middle, that's your core. That's made up of the people who are your closest connections. These are the people who know you best. They could be friends or family. It could be people that you've worked with in past jobs, like old bosses or team members, or even colleagues from other companies whose services that you were using in your past role. This is a great place to start because you already have the relationships in place. And it's as simple as reaching out and setting up a conversation. One thing you want to remember, though, you're not asking for a job in these meetings. You're just calling them to let them know, hey, I'm in the process of searching for a role, and I wanted to talk you through my job search plan and my objectives. And then, you're also checking to see if they have any intel about the market that you're interested in, and if they know of anyone that they could refer you to, again, to help keep expanding your network. And finally, most importantly, you're going to want to return the favor to them. So you're asking them for help. Ask them if they need any of your help. You're always willing to jump in and help them with networking either now or in the future. And really, it's that easy. Once you've exhausted all of that core part of your network, then you're going to want to move into the next circle. So these can be, these are the ones that are a little bit further out. So these could be things like associations you've been involved with, or people that you technically know, but maybe you haven't had much interaction with them or have been in contact with them lately. So think of things like, the alumni association from your college, or places you volunteered at, or parents of the kids that your kids go to school with who you're acquainted with, but you don't know them that well. You could even reach out to social media friends that maybe you're LinkedIn with on Facebook or Instagram, but you don't talk to them too much. Again, you're going to follow the same process as you did with your core network, but you're going to want to maybe formalize your outreach a little bit more. So something like, hi, you may not remember me, but I worked on XYZ project about 5 years ago when I was with this company, and you and I had partnered on a project. I was hoping you could spare 30 minutes of your time to have me take you through your job search plan, and then see if you have any advice or recommendations. And then, finally, it's your outer circle. These are the people that you really haven't met yet. So ideally, the contacts you've already talked to are referring you to these people. So that way you have a starting point and it won't be a cold outreach. And you're going to see that it's not too hard to start getting some calls on the books. Throughout this process, I think it's a good idea to keep a log of all your conversations. So their name, the company they work for, if they were a referral, and if so, who referred them, any key info they provided, and then if there's any next steps. This is a game of volume, and you want to set up as many calls as your schedule allows. So it's important to keep a tab of all the conversations in case one of those contacts reaches back to you and gives you some follow-up information. You want to have whatever that past conversation was and some of the key details about it. Another way to build contacts too is signing up for a networking event. So there's plenty of these in your local area. I get them all the time. I live in Connecticut. I see a bunch that are in New Haven all the time. It's a great way to talk to a lot of contacts in a short amount of time. So some pointers for that. Let's say there's a speaker that they're having come in and talk. Introduce yourself to them afterwards and learn more about the content of their presentation, because you can then use that as an icebreaker when you talk to other attendees. If you've got business cards, bring them with you and hand out as many as you can. I haven't seen a lot of people using business cards anymore, so another way to connect with them is just on LinkedIn. Link in with them right there when you're talking to them, and then that way you can always follow up with a message. And then, as always, have a plan. What are your goals for this event? Do you want to meet at least 15 people? And do you want to get contact info from at least 8 people for a follow-up conversation? Have that goal in mind as you go into this. And then when you get home, enter all that info back into your log so you can lay out all your next steps. If you set a few hours aside each week and use all the tactics I just talked about, things will definitely start to snowball, and you're going to have a lot of meetings lined up before you know it. So best of luck. And you know what? Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if I can provide any support to you as you start to write up your own job search plan. Okay, last but not least, my life hack of the day. This is kind of a cool math problem that I saw on LinkedIn of all places. So did you know that percentages are reversible? So for instance, if I asked you what 4% of 75 was, that's a lot of math, and it would take you a little bit to try to figure that out. But if you flip it and you ask, okay, what's 75% of 4? That's definitely easier. It's 3. Much easier to figure it out. So next time you're in that situation where you're trying to figure out a percentage, try flipping it, and it'll probably be a lot easier to determine what the actual number is. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.